Ravenwood Forest. Locals called it the Hollow, a place no one ventured after dusk. The trees were ancient, their branches twisted like arthritic hands, clawing at the dark sky. Every so often a gust of wind would blow through, carrying voices that seemed almost human, whispering your name. Elias Mercer, a freelance journalist and paranormal researcher, had heard the rumors. People vanished here. Some said it was a curse. Others whispered of old rituals performed by settlers long dead. Elias didn't believe in curses, not yet. But curiosity gnawed at him like a persistent itch. He checked into the Timber Creek Lodge, perched at the forest's edge. The old woman at the reception, Mrs. Hawthorne, gave him a long, piercing stare. "If you go in there after dark, you might not come back." He smiled politely. "I'm just researching," he said. The room was small, dusty, smelling of mold and something older, undefinable. He unpacked his notebook and lantern, preparing to start his observations. The forest outside shivered in the cold wind, branches tapping against the windows, like skeletal fingers knocking. By 2 in the morning, the lodge was silent. Elias scribbled notes about the forest's unnatural stillness when he heard a faint footstep, slow, deliberate, coming from outside. He froze. The wind howled louder, carrying a faint, feminine voice. Elias. His blood ran cold. He hadn't told anyone his name. He shined the lantern toward the window. Nothing. Just the forest, dark and endless. But the whispering continued, growing louder, more insistent. Then came the tapping, not against the windows. From the forest, something or someone was moving between the trees, and it was coming closer. Elias grabbed his notebook, jotting down every detail. Fear, he realized, is a precise observer, and he was observing every sound, every shadow, until the whisper became a voice. And the voice became a scream that didn't seem entirely human. And then, silence. The kind of silence that presses on your chest, that makes your ears ring, that makes your very soul feel watched. Somewhere deep inside the forest, something waited. Elias couldn't sleep. Every shadow in the room seemed to twitch with intent. He kept hearing whispers soft, taunting, like the forest itself was breathing around him. Something ancient and patient. By 3 a.m., he decided he had to see it for himself. He grabbed his lantern, tightened his jacket, and stepped outside. The night was colder than he expected. Fog curled around the forest floor like a living thing. The trees leaned over the path, as if trying to warn him back. The forest floor was littered with dead leaves that whispered under his boots. Every step felt unnatural, echoing in a way that shouldn't exist in the open air. And then, a clearing. In the center, the remains of an old stone altar, half buried, covered in moss and dirt. Strange symbols were carved into it, symbols Elias didn't recognize, but felt instinctively wrong. The air was thick, oppressive, and he noticed the silence. The forest itself had stopped breathing. Then the chanting began. Not from anywhere he could see. Just in the air, low, guttural tones that seemed to echo from the trees themselves, vibrating through his chest. His lantern flickered. A shadow moved past him, faster than any human could run. Elias spun, but saw nothing. Just darkness, then a voice, clear and terrifying. "Why have you come, mortal?" It wasn't a woman, not a man, not human, yet it carried intelligence, malice, and hunger. Elias backed away, heart hammering. His flashlight revealed movement figures emerging from the mist. Tall, gaunt shapes, skin pale as moonlight, eyes black and endless. They didn't walk, they glided, silent, purposeful. Ran. The forest twisted around him, trails that he had followed before, suddenly looping back. The trees groaned, branches grabbing at him. The whispers became a cacophony, names of those who had disappeared, repeated endlessly. Elias, Elias, Elias. Then a hand called skeletal touched his shoulder. He whipped around. Nothing, but he could feel it again, just behind him, brushing the nape of his neck. Panic rose, but even in fear, he noticed something horrifying. The forest itself was alive. The trees leaned closer. Roots moved like serpents. The ground pulsed as if it had a heartbeat. And the altar, he realized the symbols were moving, rewriting themselves. Glowing faintly in the dark, a single word burned into his mind. Cursed, and the chanting surged, louder, faster, surrounding him. He didn't run anymore. He was trapped, every path leading him back to the clearing. The hollow wanted him. From the fog, a figure stepped forward, taller than a man, cloaked in shadow. Its face was hidden, but Elias could feel its eyes, piercing, waiting, hungry. "You shouldn't be here," it whispered, though its mouth didn't move. Elias stumbled backward, tripping over roots, falling face first into the dirt. His lantern rolled away, and darkness swallowed him. And then he heard it, louder than the forest, louder than the wind, louder than his own screams. The curse takes all who listen. When Elias opened his eyes, the clearing was gone. The fog had thickened into an almost tangible wall around him. Every sound, every rustle, every whisper was amplified, echoing like the forest was mocking him. His lantern lay shattered nearby, its faint glow flickering like a dying heartbeat. He tried to run, but the forest had changed. Paths he had walked minutes ago twisted unnaturally, leading him back to the same clearing, the same altar. And now, there were more figures, tall, faceless. Emerging from the fog, they glided silently, circling him. Their presence made the air heavy, thick, with a metallic, blood-like smell. Elias's heart pounded, but his mind caught something deeper. These were not spirits. Not fully. They were echoes of the vanished, trapped by the curse, their eyes hollow, voices stolen, forever bound to Ravenwood. Then came the sound, a low hum, rising from the ground itself, vibrating through his bones. Elias stumbled backward, and the earth beneath the altar cracked open. From the fissure, a black mist poured, writhing like serpents, carrying whispers in a language he couldn't understand but felt in his soul. The shadowy figure from before stepped forward, taller now, more imposing. Its voice resonated inside his skull. "You have listened, and now you belong." Elias tried to speak, but the words froze in his throat. His limbs felt heavy, as if the forest itself had laid hands upon him. Roots snaked along the ground, lifting him slowly, inexorably, toward the altar. And then he saw it, a faint glow inside the mist. A figure, hunched and small, surrounded by runes carved into the stone. Its face was twisted in agony, mouth open in a scream that echoed for eternity. "Elias?" Reli said. It was the first victim, the one who had started the curse centuries ago. The figure turned its hollow gaze toward him, and a voice cracked through the air. "Break it, or join it." Elias's mind reeled. The forest was alive. The altar was alive. The curse demanded tribute, and he was next. The mist surged, and he felt himself pulled toward the glowing figure. His vision blurred. He could hear the countless voices of the lost, whispering, begging, taunting. "Do not look, do not run. Join us, join us, join us." Then, as the roots touched him, a blinding scream tore through the clearing. He shut his eyes. When he opened them again, he was lying on the edge of the forest, alone. The dawn had broken. The clearing, the altar, the mist all gone. The forest seemed quiet, almost serene, like nothing had happened. But in his pocket, his notebook had returned, and written in bold, jagged letters across the first page were words he didn't write. "We are waiting." And from deep within the trees, a faint whisper carried to him on the morning breeze. "You listened, and now you know." The curse never forgets, and it never forgives. Elias left Ravenwood Forest that day, never speaking to anyone about what he saw. But sometimes, late at night, when the wind is right, he hears the whispers again calling his name, from a forest that never really lets go. The hollow had claimed another witness, and it always waits for the next.